rhythm is my heartbeat, and you know I only feel it for you. This song keeps your eyes on me. I hope you see this rhythm is my heartbeat, and you know I only feel it for you. This song keeps your eyes on me. I hope you see. Welcome to Tradetopia. What's up, guys? All right. Okay, so yeah, we were just continuing the vibes on this one. So if you guys, if you guys are all about the intro music, I know a lot of you ask, feel free to check these out. I have actually a handful of Spotify playlists that I've been making since like 2013. So if you guys are into just a whole bunch of different types of music, I mean, I'm sure I could send those over as well. For those of you that have been following me for a long time, you guys know we got all types of playlists. But I'm gonna start switching it up here. Got to get different genres in the mix. Morning. Blessed morning, buenos dias. What's up, Puccini? What's up, Corey? All right, what's up, Seth? Brandon. Got Omar in the house. What up? Gabriel. Welcome. Mateo. ¿Cómo están todos? Patrick. Friso, let's get it. Luis, Sen, Mimi, PG. What up, Broly? Taco Tuesday. Let's make some tacos. Let's get after it. 2% on NAS yesterday. Hey, let's go. Yeah, so got a crown. Morning. ¿Qué tal, Puerto Rico? ¿Cómo estás, David? What's up, Will? All right, so today we have scheduled news events, just New Zealand dollar later in that's during Asian session. So for New York, no expected high impact news. However, just like I mentioned yesterday, exactly how I mentioned yesterday, there were going to be quote unquote surprises based off of tariffs. And right now there's a lot of tariff conversation happening with Japan, Cambodia, like just all over the place. So that will be just a continuing process for the next month or so. I know August 1st, again, there's more ultimatums and things of that sort. So we'll see more of that come through as the week progresses. And there's a lot overall. So don't want to take this as the only thing that could cause volatility. There's definitely lots of situations. So let's dive into a couple of things, though. We have a handful of setups that I'm definitely here on the lookout for. And we can kick things off with indices as usual. If you guys haven't, and let me know in the chat, what is it that you're looking for? ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estamos aquí? William, me gustaría una mentoría en español. Genial. Libra Yen se portó bonito en London. Eso, ¿qué tal Chile? David, ¿cómo estamos? Aquí voy a dar traducción. Si hay momentos importantes, claves, aquí yo le estoy dando la traducción. Y cualquier otra cosa ahí solo me escriben y les dejo saber. So we're going to start with indices since you guys, I mean, you understand. These are the most time-sensitive things. William, en la página está el curso entero, 5 horas de puro. Oh, hay mucho más que se les tengo que desbloquear. So before I kick things off, you guys aren't in this one. You guys don't have that. So if you ever were curious, this is what the syndicate looks like. You have different phases for different elements of the process. So resetting internal psychology. This is more so like reprogramming belief systems and a whole bunch of it. Oh, you guys are seeing some spoilers over here. And then phase 2 is more about scaling your capital, funding, and all that good stuff. But that's not really the point of this. For everyone here that's in, whether you're plugging in on the daily time, just every day here, make sure you're going to the classroom. If you're very new to trading, then the Traders Launchpad is for you. This will make sure you understand how trading works, brokers, platforms, risk reward, some psychology to get you started. Make sure you have the right expectations for the first 3-6 months or so, how to take your first trade, trading demo, all that good stuff. And then we have the Smart Money Playbook here where you learn how to build a professional system. So
technical analysis from the retail perspective, and then the smart money perspective. So how the big players take advantage of the everybody else, how the game actually works. More advanced topics on risk management and how to journal properly, so it's actually useful. And then building a smart money trading system. So this is more about how to incorporate technical analysis, and then your entries, your exits, all that good stuff. And then my favorite one out of this is this last, the value of disappointment, which also is on my YouTube, but this one is like the entire trading roller coaster, at least to a point of profitability. So that's all there for you guys. And if you've eaten all that up, and if you hit level 3 in the group, and you level up in the group based on your participation, engagement, etc., then you unlock the vault. And in the vault, you have a whole bunch of series, which I will unlock. I'll unlock a massive one for you guys on Friday. So on Friday, I will unlock a big one, which will, because I'm going to be traveling, so I want to make sure you guys have more value. But you guys will have more of these unlocked. It just takes a lot of work. So yeah, definitely dive into this. Y para los que están en español, aquí todavía me falta subir muchísimos videos, pero aquí tienen intensivos de criptos, de smart money, de cómo, y este es uno viejo. Tengo 2 aquí. El otro creo que no lo subo todavía. El intensivo de criptomonedas también, si nunca lo han visto. Y muchos videos de psicología que vienen por aquí. Pero hay mucho valor por aquí, definitivamente. All right, anyways, let's get into it. So far, it's been great. The vault is golden. Thank you. Peso's looking better than it was yesterday, so I'm waiting on that as well. Beautiful. All right, cool. So, anyways, with that being said, let's dive into it. So yesterday we were looking to short, which would have been fantastic. However, the market just never gave me my entry, unfortunately. So I wasn't able to take advantage of this meltdown over here. However, there were some key ideas. So I shared it in the group here. When we were looking at the Tradetopia trades, I gave you guys like what I was relatively looking for. So I wanted to see Dow Jones sweep liquidity, rebalance, get below these lows, and then I wanted to see NASDAQ clear liquidity and then show us if there was going to be demand or not. So this is what I was looking for. And that's what ended up happening. So we end up getting the example right here. So basically, to a T, the market sweeps liquidity right into this level. Once it gets down to here, then that's when Dow is melting through. So when I see this happen over here, and we have news here in about 6 minutes, so I'll get to the point. But basically, once the market sweeps liquidity right over here, just a push to the downside, immediately it comes right back up. So we start trading in this range. When I notice that Dow still keeps falling, so we have Dow just dropping and dropping and dropping right over here. And then now we're seeing NASDAQ hold up these levels. So the market doesn't want to go lower. It's trading in here. This is my indication that the market was going to push higher, because we're seeing Dow still go down, make lower lows, lower lows. Meanwhile, NASDAQ is making lower highs. So it takes out the sellers, or it takes out the retail buyers, and then it gives a break and retest over and over and over again. So that's when I take my buy positions, and then I trade it into this right here. And I hit TP, and then literally minutes later, it just dies. Oh, man, it just absolutely melted. So, anyways, long story short, that happens. And then we get some other key examples, and then towards the end of the session is where it gets really interesting, because yesterday, towards the end of everything, all this, and I'll zoom out a little bit here, but this is where we get to the good stuff, and this is where things get a little interesting. So we have two two important things. One, NASDAQ, I believe, could still get down to here. The question is when. And we also saw Dow melt, man. Really, really, really drop. So we see Dow Jones get all the way to this order block, get into this imbalance where we have some structure. So a market bleeds into this zone and then immediately says, oh, actually, yeah, I don't want to trade down here. And it just goes climbing right back up. Same thing happens with NASDAQ. NASDAQ, the reason NASDAQ and Dow drop is they both have certain agendas. They both are looking to do what? NASDAQ drops to clear liquidity. So NASDAQ takes out last week's Asian session lows and then trades into Wednesday's New York session. So all of these, any sort of buyer going into midweek, done. Taken out, game over, it's a wrap. So that's it, okay? That's a success now. Now here, this is the low. So this is yesterday's New York Open low. So we have a couple key things. Here is the New York, not the New York Open, but here is yesterday's New York session lows. Then we see Asian session, spike down to here, and rally. So the actual trade, the best trade so far during today's trading day happened right here. Why is that? The market stopped liquidity. This took out tons of buyers. So that was the intention behind this. When the market flies right back up, that shows us that there's very little demand. So when I say demand, I mean that there's low need, there's low desire, that there are not tons of sellers over here. So the market comes down, but why can't price stay here? Well, it's because no one wants to keep selling at that price. The more fair price was up here. It dips down again briefly, but that was the whole point. This did a breakout. This takes out buyers, lures in sellers. When it comes back up, this is a typical break and retest. So this lures in resistance traders, break and resistance sellers. The market then pushes back down. Once it's basically created it's lured in the max amount of sellers. There's tons of selling positions. Now we see the market flip again, and this is our typical shakeout setup. Textbook shakeout setup. It just happened in the beginning of Asian session, which is a little unusual. Now, why NASDAQ and not Dow? Well, NASDAQ here in our example, and I mean, you could have taken either or, but on the way down, we already saw NASDAQ just much more bullish. It's a less intensive drop here versus Dow that just bled way down over here into 1st of July's price action, whereas we're seeing this trade barely into the 2nd of July. So NASDAQ has just been way less bearish, and that's how we get to where we get to. So for today, we're seeing that we're already trading up in this range. We're already trading back where price was trading yesterday during New York session, early on New York session, whereas Dow is still really bearish. It hasn't even broken above these highs over here. So Dow is really struggling to go higher. And this is what I want to get into. So where are the trades for today? What are we really looking at? I think that we can see buy positions over here. Here's where we see that last sweep to the low before the market rallies. So here's kind of like the beginning of Asian session. A sweep down, lures in sellers one more time, and then it rips. So here's an example. And then you have Dow Jones over here as well. Similar idea. You have Dow push down and then rally. The difference is Dow is barely doing anything. Look at the high here. Look at Dow Jones. This is the high over here, and that's the same high. So NASDAQ is trading way higher versus Dow that's trading way down here. So I definitely am focused on on trading NASDAQ, and right now we're experiencing the open. So it's 8:30 here in Chicago, 9:30 New York, Miami area, 6:30 California. If you're in the UK, I think that is I forgot what time zone, what you guys call it, CET, but it's like 2:30, and then depending on where you're at, right, it gets later and later. But New York Open every day, Monday through Friday, is at this time. This is where the volatility really kicks in. Here's where the New York Stock Exchange opens, and it's game time. So I think we can see the market continue to the downside. Here we're starting to see very, very easily Dow Jones work its way down. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets below this. I'm not looking for a buy here. En este momento, chicos, Nasdaq tiene una mejor oportunidad para compras. Está manteniéndose mucho más alcista. Creo que Dow Jones podría caer mucho más hacia abajo. So, if we're going to look for buys, as of right now, Nasdaq seems to be the likely buyer. Okay. Go. Just making some changes over here. All right. So let's see how this goes. Now let me just draw up a couple things. Let me mark up some key ideas. So yeah, right now, we're kind of seeing a buildup of liquidity right there. So this is retail buying. So just, basic support, trendline traders. That's where they're going to start building up their orders. And then retail sellers also, just the majority, the masses here. So right now there's sellers over here, buyers over here. Building up, luring in money on both ends. This is where I'm waiting for an opportunity for an entry. So here, right around here, we could have a good buying opportunity. And then depending on how we react, could take it up to like a 3R. Maybe we go even further. It will just kind of depend on how we work our way down to this level. In the meantime, I think that could take Dow Jones even further down, where we get below this low. So I wouldn't be shocked. We might get one of these. The market breaks below these lows, trade somewhere into here. So we might just get one of these. Comes back up again. Then maybe we go down even one more time. So something like this. I wouldn't be shocked if this is how the market wants to play out today. Now, what if the market goes up first? There's a chance. Maybe we don't get all the way down here and the market just keeps pushing. So what if that's the case? So I want to show you guys what that idea could look like. But before I do that, let me go ahead over here. Let me make sure I get my contract size all squared up. So for example, if I'm going to risk $1,000, if that's the case on a trade like this one, then, and this is just to give you also a reference, if it's $1,000 risk on a trade like this, it's right around 20 contracts. So if you're risking, and this is if I'm risking MNQ, not NQ, MNQ. So about 20 contracts, that's for $1,000. So that'd be 2 contracts for $100 risk. And that's how you can easily just kind of figure it out. Oh, okay, $100 risk over here would be 2 contracts, 2 micros. Cool. Now you know. If you want to risk $200, oh, okay, that'd be like 4 contracts. But that's if you're opening a sell down here. All right, so look at how the market is working its way down. Nice. Dow Jones already. Look at this. Look at how this started. We see the market pump up, take out the high, and come just screeching back down. So it takes out the high, comes back down, pushes up again, comes back down. I wonder if we'll end up seeing some sort of shorting out of this range. Outside of that, though, there's really not much else to do. Like we did have that huge spike up here, and then the market worked its way down. So then this was New York Open from yesterday. This could be an opportunity down the road. But way down the road, we might be looking at a possible short over here. New York Open, see the market spike up and back, and then all the way back down. So it's just to show you guys here. This is what happened yesterday. These are key zones where the money can come in and out. So if we look at how things went over here, saw the market spike up, come back down after New York Open, then it ranges. So we just kind of move sideways. So then now that we have more detail on how this moved, there is no trade here. So the 5-minute candle looks a lot different than when you go back down to the 1 minute. 5-minute looks like, oh, there's a huge spike from the downside all the way up to here. That's not how that actually played out. That's why going to the smaller time frames can give you more detail about the market, and then you're not trading like an illusion, because that's the truth. The markets the candlesticks just give you a perspective. It doesn't give you the perspective. It doesn't give you the most accurate depiction of what's happening. It just gives you an angle. It's like you get one lens on a camera, but it might not give you the full story. So to look for sells, honestly, right now, I'm not really in love with any ideas yet. If it were to keep climbing, I'd probably wait for an entirely new type of structure. There is this kind of last spike up here before it dropped, so we can go check this out here as well with Dow over here. So we kind of see this last move to the upside. Last spike up, and then it comes crashing down. I wouldn't say this is equal highs. It is a little bit underneath, and we do see a build up, pumps, and then the imbalance. So I could see the market giving us some shorts out of this range right there. All right, now let's bring this back to the present. So this has us going way out here. So we're way far out here. Same thing with the short over here. So we're farther out. We may not get there for a bit. So look at how Dow came down to the low. The zone that we had marked up earlier actually did play out of here, so it mitigated. So we saw it reject and come flying back up. Let's see what happens. Let's see if NASDAQ does anything similar. Maybe it works its way down. Maybe they both work their way down. Right now, just as fast as it spiked up and came down, because this went down and up so quickly, I am not convinced. I am not convinced on opening up sells. And the only reason I'm not is because the way it comes down and right back up, this isn't showing me a lower low like structure. It's not proving to me, oh yeah, no, whether the market definitely loves trading down here. There's a lot of, it's a very competitive price. No, it came down here, just got eaten up by buyers and came straight back up. So this doesn't give me the most confidence. Sure, sometimes this can play out like it is right now, but I would rather not just kind of gamble on that. Oh, well, yeah, I mean, it did come down. It's just not giving me enough. So I would rather stay patient and wait and see what else happens here. What is interesting is the following. Dow is actually trading pretty bullish. Like, it's holding this down pretty well. So this did spike down, and then now it's still trading here, while NASDAQ is still going further down. So I'm curious to see what this is going to look like. Does Dow go even lower? Does Dow stay trading here while NASDAQ works its way down? So there is a chance that we might see Dow kind of like trade like this, and then maybe we get a spike down and then the rally as well. So this is also a different option. If something like this happens, and then NASDAQ keeps working its way down, could be a trade. So we'll kind of just Compare the two. See how they're moving along. Okay. There we go. All right. So in the meantime, like, look at that. We're already pumping over here. In the meantime, we'll see how the market can or will unfold. Look at that. Already just blasting out of the zone. Yeah, really curious. I wonder if we end up getting something like this. So what I'll do here is what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this over here. And then maybe we get a play somewhere over here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share this. We're going to get some new markups. And then we got, so YM/NQ here. Be mindful of price action. If we're looking for buys, trade the lagger. Okay, and then let's paste the image in here. More setups incoming. Okay, here you go. All right, cool. You guys got that there. Yo, shout out to everyone that's been picking up some merch. Hope you guys are liking what you're getting. So far, lots of love, so we appreciate it. All right, I can unpin this now. Okay. Here we go. All right, perfect. So now we wait. I'm going to have an alert here. If we start to kind of work our way back down, then I'll be here checking. But this is good. This to me shows us a couple big things. This spike down brings us below the London session lows, and it brings us to mitigate this. So if I was only trading Dow Jones, this would have been an easy buy. But unfortunately for me, in today's example, I don't just look at and independently trade one asset class. I do take into consideration the entire asset class. So I didn't take this trade, but that's fine. I could get another opportunity anyways. So now we worked into this right here. So far mitigates, and I'll put notes so you guys have the motive, the reason why, right? So mitigates Asian liquidity sweep /low. Okay, which is this right there. So we now see this as an efficient. The market is efficient over here. Perfect. Meanwhile, this drops down and then rebalances some of Asian session imbalance right there. But look at this. Right now, NASDAQ is actually much more bearish. It's not really pumping up the same way as Dow. So stay on the lookout here. Looking at Dow Jones price action and the way that it quickly worked its way here. I want to see if we just kind of maintain this, maybe even go and just go higher highs instead. And then if we just go higher, then this is going to be an easier trade. And then I'm looking to trade right below, like right in this area here, right in this little pocket is where I'm looking for a trade. Dude, look at that, just blasting through the highs. So now if we really can go and create higher highs here, then I'm definitely interested in. Either it's going to trade out of this order block here, or it's going to get into this imbalance. So you could actually split your trade into entering here and then having a second risk element over there as well. So I could see both. Either or is possible. So these are kind of the two areas that interest me. Be right there. And then right here too. Like in these zones. Okay. We'll let that do its thing. We'll come back to this. Let's go look at basically what else is going on. So crypto rebounding nicely, very nicely. I won't look at too much crypto right now. I don't think we really need to. What we ended up seeing yesterday was we end up getting down to this low over here. When the market fills in balance and it spikes down here again, this like takes in sellers one more time, the breakout, and then things just ripping. So looking at not just that, but ETH also climbing. Curious what we see here later, because we do have liquidity building up here with ETH. But anyways, that's not the point. The point here is that let's look at, what do you guys want to look at? I'll pull up whatever gets to this here first. Whoever posts a certain asset class, I'll take a look at that. I was waiting for that to happen as well, Joe, but I got busy. Glad to see someone else was anticipating those buys in Asia. Nice. I had the buy set up on NAS, but did not trade it since it happened a little after market open. Beautiful shakeout. Yep. Yeah, you guys are seeing it. Hey, Mike, do you think you could upload your older video going over market correlation later? I noticed it wasn't really covered extensively in current trading plan thing and free community. Yeah. I think we have the same buy zones. Happy to see from my end. Awesome, man. Is the mitigation your zone or a bit under? The mitigation is the exchange from like a buy to a sell or a sell to a buy. So if the market stays bullish here and the demand stays up there, then we're looking at like this zone. This is the actual zone. This one right here. The one that with the blue outlining. Here's where the sells come in. They open, drop price down. So these are where the sell positions are available. Okay, UJ. Yeah, we can take a look at USD JPY wins. Right now, the only thing that I'm seeing here, and this is the 15-second time frame, is we have a little pump up here, the smallest one, on New York Open, and then everything drops. I'm not going to trade that, but that's the only little thing I can notice for shorts. Otherwise, I'm going to just keep waiting here for Dow Jones buys for later. Okay, so let's look at this. USD JPY. Finally, jeez. Been waiting for this one for a couple weeks now. So we're about 2 weeks after 2 weeks of waiting, 2 weeks in a day. We're about to get to the zone where we pump. Dollar yen pumps up to here, and then it melts. So we're getting really close to approaching the zone. If we look at this with futures, Japanese yen futures, this is going to look flipped. So Japanese yen futures is already trading in this zone. So where would I want to be involved in? Where would I want to take my trade here? Well, if we look back over here, we've seen some support in the past in these areas. Okay, like right where we're at now. If I look at a little bit more detail, so let's say 1 hour time frame. And we want to be considerate of previous price action. We get some pretty key reversals, basically right around the open. and then again down here a bit further. Now, if I'm looking at just the way in which this drops and then how it rallies, over here, we see huge sell-offs. On the way back up, the market goes higher. Here, you see a very efficient price action, inefficient price action. So here's how it goes on the way up. Market flies up, little pullback, continues, pullback, continues, pullback. So you have an order block right there. So support, support, resistance, support. So the likelihood that it reverses out of like this, there's definitely a potential here. This is not going to give you the best risk reward, but this is definitely a key area where the market could reverse from. Obviously, the deeper the retracement, the better the risk reward gets for the trade. And looks like that's just where we just tapped into. No surprise. So it bounced right out of there. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to chase this trade up beyond this. I don't want to trade like that. I don't want a massive stop. That's not really interesting to me. I'm going to look for another retracement. So I want it to actually get below, because I already played out of this order block. So I want it to actually get below. So if the market gives us another drop down, then I'll be more interested in buy scenarios with USD JPY. It seems that on futures, it swipes the high / low on 27th, but on CFD it doesn't. That's cool. So yeah, futures is this is where the liquidity comes in. So that's the trade. Like, this is where the money, like, CFDs create their data from futures data feeds. And then they just print it and however they want. Okay, so all right, so yeah, this is the yen right now. Really, anywhere in the zone's good. I kind of want to see it go down one more time just so we can get a better risk reward. If it doesn't happen, then I guess I just missed the trade, and it is what it is. Otherwise, yeah, well, we could see some better trading. And then from here, working its way like to here or even further. I'll say like something like this. Something like this is cool. So here is 6J. And let's get an image in here. And to make it easy for my CFD traders, with this move here, either way it mitigates if you're looking at CFDs, so like it kind of plays out of that role. With CFDs, it's not quite even to the open of this move yet anyway, so maybe we push higher nonetheless. So I'll just leave that there. And then I would want to trade this to like here. All right. Interesting. So now Dow Jones up, quick, down, quick. Weird. This makes the market structure way more complicated. Because now we're seeing NASDAQ and Dow trading in opposing directions. So here's where we basically decided, and the market basically plays out of these highs and then just instantly comes back down. So trade out of that London high and now it's dropping. I don't love this setup anymore. No me encanta esta idea ahora. And here's why I don't love this setup. The market, when it breaks above these highs, it doesn't look to make it's a higher structure. This looks like it just takes out the highs for the sake of clearing out sellers, but not to confirm bullish structure. You know? So, as of now, I'm not in love with this idea. I wish I could say I was, but I'm not. If we come back up and we keep trading up here, maybe different story. But as of right now, not very good looking. It was just so fast. Like I want to see again. I'm telling you once again and again. It's the demand for me. Like that is what makes the difference. So let's see how this unfolds. Let's see how this continues. If we can trade back up here, then maybe, or if I just see a difference. But look at this. So, okay. NQ here. Kind of looks like it's just kind of luring in buyers. What's it going to look like? Because if Dow, the way it's spiked up to here, we have to ask ourselves, is the intention of the market to just lure in buyers, take out sellers, and then make a lower low? Is that something that it could do? Based on the way that it came down and then right back up again, what is this showing us? That no, the market does have demand above these levels. Do you correlate the US dollar volatility to the volatility of CFDs or indices? Like the DXY? Or volatility in general? Like the VIX? Like the VIX? So let's see. Because this still could be a decent... Oh, DXY, okay. So the index. You could use the index. So, okay. The DXY is actually a mirror. The DXY is a reflection of a combination of a ton of currencies, like dollar-based currencies. So the DXY isn't what shows you, isn't what guides the currencies. The currencies are what create the DXY. So the DXY is like 56% Euro USD, 10% GU, 10% Euro, USD JPY. So the DXY doesn't actually, the DXY is the mirror. It's not the image in itself. Okay. So look, we're now starting to see the NASDAQ work its way lower into this zone. It finally broke below here. It's trading into some of this Asian session movement, which is cool. I wonder if we're going to end up seeing the market here like work its way to, because this is where we wanted to get mitigation with NASDAQ, right? Like somewhere over here. Meanwhile, we have DXY still trading, or not DXY, the Dow Jones YM here trading into this level, which is cool. Look at that. Right now, we're seeing NQ bounce out of here. Good job. I feel like we still will push down. If that does happen, so if we end up seeing this still, something like this, somewhere, I think this is still a possibility. And then depending on where Dow Jones is, I may look to take the Dow buy or might look to take NQ buys here. We'll just kind of see how we work our way down, what this next leg down would be like. There's a chance that it doesn't get down here, and this is enough, and Dow Jones just pops off. I'll come back to that here in a second. What I wanted to show you guys was a couple different things. Dollar just is destroying the yen right now. That's just very abundantly clear. USD CAD yesterday, when we were talking about possible shorts, we didn't end up creating tons of demand, so I didn't end up shorting this because it just came down and up. If you did short it, then, I mean, you saw some profits. I think you saw maybe like 1.2R. Either way, it wasn't my trade, so not something I took here. NZD USD still lagging way behind. NZD USD does have its news today, so remember that. Yo, appreciate you guys here. We got hundreds of people that have rolled throughout this session, so appreciate you guys liking the stream. For those of you that are subscribing and those of you that are joining the community, all love to be able to walk you guys through different trades live and everything. So it's solid. Okay, look. So Dow is still dropping. Dow Jones todavía sigue bajando. It now has gotten to the imbalance that I was talking about. Meanwhile, NASDAQ is holding a better bullish structure still. So I'm flipping my bias again back to NASDAQ. Entonces, no busco compras. So I'm not buying here. We bounced out of the order block, and now we're in this imbalance. Maybe we bounce in here as well. But I'm going to stay patient. I'm going to stay patient in here, and I'm going to look for this. This is the setup that I'm going to wait for. And in reality, what we now have is potential Dow Jones sells. Look at this. Built up resistance here, came up here one more time, dropped again, pumped, then goes down. So now we see, and this is how we don't want to stay married to one bias. We need to respond to what the market is showing us. We need to respond to the proof the market gives us here. So this is what the market looks like it could do now. If the market keeps going down, then what we could see is the market push down. If it confirms bearish demand, then we can look for shorts somewhere here in the future. We'll see, right? We just have to kind of wait and see. Now, maybe some of you took a buy in here. You saw this push down, then the rally. I like trading out of like the bigger picture zones. So the fact that we have this open with Asian session, clearing the lows, rebalancing, and then running, this looks like a much better opportunity, in my opinion, down here. So buys over here, sells over here in the future. But first we want to see, or at least I want to see, the higher likelihood of success would be if the market breaks the lows, trades down here, and then we can get some sort of reversal playing out of here somewhere. And for now, we wait. Okay, so NZD USD still same as yesterday. Same as yesterday. The market could short out of this range. We see the pullbacks are very minimal so far. Just they've only rebalanced. That's it. Only rebalancing here right now. If you look at GU, if you guys played the buy yesterday here, you saw, I think, about 50 pips. Very good. GU basically creating liquidity as well. It's been very bearish. NQ, okay, working its way down. Nice. So, all right, NQ pushing down even further. We're seeing Dow still carry its way further down. That's why for me, demand, like a structure is not just when it pokes above or below. That's not structure. What the fuck? Like, it literally is in its own definition. Structure is something that is solid, right? Something that you can have stability on. Something that's going to stay. It's going to withstand pressure. Structure isn't, oh, the price got above. Nah. Yeah, sure, it went above, but that doesn't show us anything. What we want to see now, and more than likely, I think, this probably gets below even this low. So we'll see if it just goes to here or if it goes even lower. But yeah, I'm ready for NASDAQ buys if we get to it. So basically just back to our original idea. All right, working our way through. Patience, my friends, patience. All right. I'll have an alert here too. But look at that. Nice. Now the key thing is, okay, let's say we get a bounce into this. So the market comes into here, triggers our entry. Where do we want to take this? That's the big question. How far do you want this to go? Now, the last pump that we see, a good pump, was right up here, right? This is kind of where the market last brings up buyers, like it's luring in buyers here, then it drops. So I wouldn't be surprised if either one, here you have kind of a nice order block, two, we just kind of get into this imbalance and then the market turns around. So right around here is where I could see us having high probability and yet still have a good exit. So I'm going to be waiting on that. Okay. Right now, dollar is getting destroyed, or the dollar is pumping, so it's destroying all of these setups. Euro didn't quite get high enough, and looks like the winner of the day, which actually goes against usually my plan, is actually the one that got here first. So with the news event, the Australian news event spiked the market into the zone. It mitigated this beautifully, and then the market worked its way down. I don't usually trade what gets to these zones first. And I didn't trade this, right? I saw it happen, the news event. But so the news event pumped the Australian up into this. And I guess it kind of makes sense since this right here is the Asian session open. So the volume comes in during Asian session. So I guess this kind of makes sense. But this move, you know, the gap up and then the drop, this happens across the board with all of the dollar pairs. So that's why I was more so focused on the dollar. So, yeah, didn't catch anything regarding that at all yet. And so that's fine. Then the second question is, can we still get something up there? And I do think we can still get a setup up there in the future. All right, so let's see here. And Q kind of still hanging on, chilling. let's go look at some metals. So I'll drop new charts here. Actually, yeah, I'll do more charts in a bit, but I want to make sure that I give you guys all the perspective I see. I can imagine people wanting to buy gold right now. I can see that. Also, I know how some of you are looking to sell gold. I advised against it because I saw silver still wanted to go higher, and silver unfortunately did not go high enough before it started to sell off. All right, but anyways, gold versus silver right now. So gold gave us a nice little sell-off right here. It's a nice little move to the downside. And then the market worked its way higher. But then the market did not make higher highs. The market failed to do that and worked its way back down. So I'm not in love with a buy here. I still like the buys setup from down here much better. So originally this is my idea from last week. I still think we can work our way down. And so the reason I'm not looking to buy gold right now, even though it's in an area where it can mitigate. So during London session, we see the spike down in the rally. First reason, we didn't get a higher high. Second reason, thank you, baby. Second reason we have, so I can just go side by side. Gold versus silver, always a very useful chart. This will help you take less bad trades or less trades that if you're looking at something independently, I get it. If you're looking at it as a collective, it's a bit different. So look at how right now, and I could be wrong. These trades still work sometimes, so it's not perfect, obviously. Gold goes into the zone 786, and then it's kind of creating liquidity right now. Silver, we get. So let me correct something. We get higher highs, but on smaller time frames. So yes, we get above here. Okay. Silver, same thing, gets above, fine. Silver right now is still in the imbalance. So the retracement's been less intense. So it's retraced between the 50, 618, where gold is already at a 786 pullback. So it's pulling back way deeper. Silver, in my opinion, could keep going further down. So we have silver here in a place where it has more imbalance that it could fill, trading down into this zone. So if silver was going to give us a reversal, it would be in here somewhere. And I would, just the way that we pump through, we could go down the same in a similar fashion. So I do think we can work our way down further, kind of into this zone over here. So if the buy is going to happen, probably happens somewhere in here. So I think we could be a little bit more patient. Remember, though, if you are looking at metals and buys with metals specifically, if we zoom out a little bit, and a little bit more. Quick update on indices. Okay, they're kind of chopping up in there. Okay. But if we zoom out a little bit, we're kind of in this world where it looks like distribution is setting up, but it also looks like reaccumulation is setting up. So it's one or the other, right? We're kind of in between both. So when we see that, and then same thing, you can go look at gold here. Gold's been more on the bear side, but then it traded down into here. All right. Mitigated. Cool. There's still a chance it could go down a little bit lower. There's this massive imbalance in here. Still an option. when the 4 hour takes the low and goes higher, what happens here? It fails to make the higher highs. Loses momentum, loses momentum, loses momentum, loses momentum. So I actually think we could still go further down. I know we kind of want it to go higher. Like because you already saw the spike down and it's like, oh yeah, okay, here we're going to go higher. But it just, to me, looks like we have a different thing going on here. So when this fails to create demand, I'm not sold on this idea quite yet. Could this bounce from here? Sure. Would I swing trade this? No. I wouldn't go for higher high. That I wouldn't do. Not right now. Same thing here. Silver, it's losing momentum when it makes these movements. So could you see a bounce out of this range? Sure. Would I take this to new highs? Not so much. So gold, not trading this. Entonces, no estoy comprando oro. Creo que tenemos tendencia mucho más bajista. Y igualmente oro está más bajista de lo que estamos viendo aquí con plata. So, okay. So let's say you want to take silver buy just because it's lagging behind. And it made a structure shift, but on the 15. Okay. This would be under a conservative entry for me. So this would, or a conservative exit for me. So something like this. And then looking for, honestly, I wouldn't even take this. It's not fucking worth it. The RR is not great. Maybe you get this. Maybe. And even then you get to the 3.4. But the market's really efficient on the way down over here. So you get like a 1.3, 1.4. So for me, it's not really worth it. Like the RR isn't quite there. Sure, you can get an entry. Sure, you can get a bounce. But even then, going against the trend, the market's like, meh. I'm okay with this. I'm good on that. If you guys like it, if you like your risk reward, maybe you take a different trade. Maybe you take a tighter stop for whatever. Then you can consider it. I'm going to just consciously decide not to take it. Not because the entry isn't okay, but the exit, there's a lot of traffic and structure here. I could see the market going up, trading into these candles, into these movements, and then just deciding to go further down. So I'm cool. Okay. With that being said, what are our indice friends here doing? What do we got? What do we got going on over here? So right now, let's zoom in a little bit. This is the current state of affairs. We have market Dow broke below. Got below here for a few minutes. Fun. 5 minutes. Traded right back up into the zone again. All right. And then now we're coming down again. So, as I mentioned before, if we're going to see sells, I want us to have confirmations that we have a bearish structure. I don't want to see just, oh, here we went below for a minute or two. This doesn't so much prove bearish structure to me. So I want to see this come back down, trade down here. Then, cool, we can think about selling. But if the market just kind of is taking lows and then bouncing right back up, still doesn't mean that we're going to continue selling off. This could just be another sweep of the lows for this thing to rally. So that's why, for me, supply and demand structure has such a valid, like it's such a strong importance before the liquidity and the mitigation. Like, all right, I just got to know what is the market really looking to do? What's the point of this? Because the reason smart money can work is because we understand the narrative, we understand the context. Okay, where does money want to go? Why does money want to go there? That's the whole fucking point. So for now, let's let the market prove itself. That's the thing. We have to look at this. When you're looking at the market, you want to look at it or I guess I look at it. I'm not telling you what to do, but I look at this and go, okay, market, you have to prove to me that you can earn the right to my money. I'm not like, we're the ones that put money into the market, not the other way around. Like, yes, the market is flowing with trillions and trillions of dollars, but if we're going to expose ourselves to some type of risk, then it's got to be worth it. All right, they got to earn that. Okay, so from here, we'll chill. We'll wait. Let me know if you guys end up taking any trades with metals. Curious to see if you guys end up making decisions with this or not. I'm like I said earlier, I'm staying away from that. And then what I want to see now is I kind of want to look at currencies because we're dropping so much. I want to see, do we have opportunities? Like, are there any buy opportunities or anything like that? And so I'm going to go through a few of these again from a different perspective. And let's see here. Let me zoom out. So what are we seeing now? Okay. So big picture, we saw the mitigation on Australia. Did anyone take AUD, USD by any chance? Anyone take this? What's up? Equal highs, the sell and Dow. Does this mean the other setups aren't valid anymore? For which one? What's up, Rowan? Omar in the short term sell on gold. Nice. Didn't take AU because of NZ deviation. Yeah, I didn't take AU either. Caught us selling AU yesterday morning. Nice. Was waiting on NZ. Sweet. All right, so our yen futures just first alert went off. So what are we seeing? This means that yen is playing back into this order block from before. Cool. So there we go. We already bounced out of this order block once. So in my opinion, that means that we already saw mitigation in here. We already rejected this move. So because originally there's like a sell and the market goes. So now the buy opens, which is why we got that little bounce. That's why you saw the bounce here. It's a little bounce right there. From here, that means I think we would break through this and go lower. That could give us a good risk reward. So I'd be down for yen futures buy if it gets below that, because then now we have a lot more wiggle room. We have a better RR. The question becomes, if you're trading prop firm futures, are you going to get the volatility you need for this to be worth it? So are you going to get a huge bounce? Or are you going to see a move like this? So, I mean, possibly. 2 weeks ago, during New York session, we got all this up until like right there, basically. So you maybe we get something like this. So then for futures, 1.5R, maybe 2R. Now, if you're trading CFDs, you might be able to hold this much better. You can hold this into, now if you're just trading futures with your own money, then yeah, I mean, you can hold this as much as you want. I know most of you are trading just prop firm futures though. Okay, so all right, here we go. We worked our way down again with Dow. Guys, let me organize you over to here. Let's get us on the same page because we are getting closer to this NASDAQ buying opportunity here. So let's get it. Let's get on the right path here. Approaching buying these entries. So now look at this. We're about to break below this low. So like I talked about previously, so we're getting right over here. It doesn't need to do all of this, but if we do see Dow break below into this area, that will probably bring NASDAQ down to here. And this is where I want to trade out of. Right now, okay, we got below again, some imbalance. Nice, very nice. Right now, if buyers throughout this entire time, definitely use this as a stop loss point. This is kind of like that anchor point. So stops easily go right there. Very predictable stop placement for tons of money. So I'm not quite convinced yet. So waiting it out. Okay. We have our alert here. Very well. Let's see. Yen futures still doing their thing. All right, cool. We can go back to one chart on here. So now zooming out a little bit, can we see any ideas with where the dollar's at and what it's doing to the currency market? Are there entries? Are there opportunities? And not really. I think we just got below the low. So we just got below yesterday's New York session low. Cool. Kind of got into more liquidity. GU working its way further down into here. Some order blocks. Nothing I would take. NZD, same thing, just kind of getting into the imbalance. There's these like lower big sell-offs that I think we're finally getting into based on like the 4-hour time frame. But NZD at the moment, what it's doing is like a lot of these, what the dollar has done with the strengthening of the US dollar, it's just taking out the lows of the beginning of the week. So yesterday's lows are just getting cleared right now. NZD, GU, Euro, except for Australian. Australian is the one that's kind of slowest to move its way there. Actually, what does 6A look like? Maybe this looks a little different. Could be a setup here. That's borderline liquidity. I wouldn't really fuck with that. All right, chilling there. Silver starting to bounce. Gold, a little bit. Okay. So, you guys talked about the peso, right? Remember that. There we go. Asking about the Mexican peso. So, we had this here. Saw the mitigation, right? Yesterday, we see the move to the upside. Works its way down. Stabilizes over here. So the short on the peso looks decent. All right. Yeah, this looks much better. Would have been even better if we could have gotten lower lows, but this is not terrible. Clearly, there's demand at these levels. So let's get some Mexican peso in here. Add it to the setup list here. And then I'll pull up futures chart as well. Following up with indices, big bounce with MNQ right now. Huge bounce. So let's see. Let me just reevaluate. Could it be that this was a mitigation or something? Came into imbalance, played out of structure, we got a sell, came up here again. Here's where the market started to sell from. Came up again, consolidated, built out support, then it drops again. So in reality, it looks like this is where things really start to drop. I wonder. Where do we get to here? I'm going to keep this. This is still valid to me. So I'm curious what we see happen next. But what could make sense now, is the short on Dow. So Nasdaq's already playing up to here. And Dow is starting to get closer to there. So could Dow Jones give us that sell now? So let's see. Let me mark this up real quick. So let's say we had a short from like right here. Have it go down, came back up again, came back down. So we traded down here again for another 5-10 minutes. And we're seeing Nasdaq trading significantly higher than Dow. Maybe it even goes up to here. I think we could see a Dow short from right there. And then it would mitigate this huge buy. Could see a drop. So let's say we had something like this happen. Looks like could be what, 50 point stop, 50 to 60 point stop right around here. And then RR wise, I would get it below the lows. 2.7 to 3R, maybe more. Is that worth it? To me, I would say jizz. Cool. All right, so now it's in the zone. I think I'd want to see, let's see if Nasdaq clears the highs, and then where that takes this, where that takes Dow. All right, so let's see, 9Q here, getting closer. All right, keep pushing, pal. Let's go. Come on now. Not quite. So right now, forming some type of liquidity. Here's where all of a sudden, and it may not need to clear that. Let's see. Some of you may be getting now. I'm not. I'm going to wait a little longer. I'm very much at, oh, there goes NQ taking out the highs. So we could see Dow open a position from here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go half risk at, let me have it go back into the zone. All right, so I'm in at half my risk right here. If we go back up again, then I'll take my other half of my risk. The reason I entered here was because we did just get the little pump beyond the highs with NQ. So I was wondering if we're going to just melt from here now. Now that it took out more sellers, the market could want to go further down. And you see how now Dow, so this was the entry. You see how now Dow is dropping and Q is going even higher. We may see a shift depending on what the market, how everything continues. We might just actually end up getting a different setup here. Maybe. Let's see how this continues. Okay, so right now I'm only half my risk is in the game here. So if we go a little bit higher, if we pump up to here, then I'll open up the second half of my risk. Look at how we're seeing higher highs right now on the small time frame. We're getting up here, and then Dow is giving us lower highs. So that's usually a good sign that at least we've chosen what is more bearish in like current price action. I wonder if NQ goes for these highs, these London highs. Okay, like pushing a little higher. There we go. So second half of risk can be introduced here soon. I want it in this imbalance right there. Basically like in here. Right there would be ideal. Is anyone, are you guys who is taking a sell, who is like, you know what, man, I'm going to stay out of this trade. I don't really like it. Let's see. I might not get a chance to get the second half of my risk in. But that's fine. Not a big deal. Right now, what'll be interesting to see is NASDAQ going to confirm that this is competitive pricing, that the market wants to stay bullish, or are we going to see another example of just a pump to clear out basically all of this? Is New York Open, by the way, like this right there is New York Open for NASDAQ. So does this want to basically take out all the sellers post New York Open and then drop, or is this going to show us signs that there is strength from buyers at these prices and that these are competitive levels? So that's what right now we're going to see a form basically. Another thing to add is the move to the upside, what clears liquidity here, what clears, sellers. This move here was about roughly 84 points. So if the market were to drop 84 points, whatever the high is, whether it's here, maybe it goes higher. That would be the mitigation. That's when my stops would be moved to break even and all that good stuff. But yeah, for now, I'm waiting. I'm chilling. All right, sitting a little bit of profit. Nothing crazy. 10 points or so. And the thing is, NASDAQ flew so much that if this thing starts to, melt, work its way down, could bring Dow well below these lows. So clearing these lows is the first take. Trading somewhere into here is the idea. We'll be comparing how price moves, how NASDAQ moves down into here as well. Okay, so we're about 20 points in profit. It's looking nice. There we go. So if this, which looks like it is going to be seems like it's the high. Seems like we're starting to get the mitigation just by the look at the way it's working its way down. Looks like money is kind of flooding in here now. So moving stops to break even here. Something I'm looking to do here shortly. So I just want to see this drop a little bit further. Then I move my stop to either a very, very small amount of risk or just fully break even. Good stuff so far. And look at how minimally. So NASDAQ shows us that the move to the upside here was not to make higher highs, was just to sweep liquidity. Now we can go ahead and tighten up our stops. Go ahead, move this back to entry. All right, guys. So aquí ya moví el stop loss, lo puse donde entramos. So it looks quality so far. If you are going to take your profit, because let's just say mitigation, then you got right around a 1R. Not too bad. So if you're taking profit, and let's say your profit rule is, and this is a high, if you want one of the, in my opinion, the highest probability exits, it's whatever the mitigation would be, the minimum, and that's your exit, you're going to hit that a lot. So for example, here, the pump that clears liquidity is 84 points, right? 83, 84 points. So if your profit is always the mitigation, so let's say here was the high of it, here's where it starts to drop, and it gets to 85 points. Let's say that was your rule. That's going to be a high probability exit. You're going to hit that. If it mitigates, which roughly does, at least when done properly, about 70, 80% of the time, when you have everything in place, the correlation and all that good stuff, then you're hitting this pretty often. So even if it's like a 1R, in this case it's slightly under, that's a profitable exit system. You're just not catching the huge RR trades, but you are winning often. That's not the case really for how I'm going to trade this. I do like our odds of this going further, considering that we're still really bearish, even though NASDAQ is kind of fighting to break below this, because if it does, which it looks like it's going to, it's got a shit ton of imbalance to drop into, and that can just really keep pushing Dow even further down. Look at that. That's what we're seeing. This is what I'm talking about right here. So this just cleared that low. At this point, I think this would have hit TP just now. And so I am now fully my trade is now fully in profit. I don't want to get nothing out of this trade. And what did the market go do here for NASDAQ? NASDAQ traded all the way down to where we had some structure. So here's where we had resistance. So of course, when it got down to here, did a little bit of a bounce. I still think we work our way further down. It looks like if it's going to mitigate with NQ, and not that I'm going to take this, I don't really trust NASDAQ buys right now, because this to me didn't show me bullishness. This shows me like it kind of just took out sellers. So I'm not looking to buy, but I think we can keep rebalancing, working our way down, and it seems like I think we'll still work our way down to here. We'll see. If you're like, I don't like what's happening here, and you want to take your profit, just take your profit. If you're like, well, it cleared the lows, is this it? Is this now going to rally? Is this going to pump? And then that's the trade. If that's the case, then might as well take something. So this is now basically identifying, well, what's the purpose of this? Is this just rebalancing and it's going to go down? Is this it? Is this going to keep going higher? So right now, because this here was so minimal, I'd like to see it. I don't love how quickly the market absorbed these buys, though. So when I'm in these situations where it's like, all right, it could go lower, it could go higher, what I like to do is either move my stop to a place where, worst case scenario, I still make some money, or you can take some partials, so you can take some profit off the table and then let the rest ride, and just basically whatever happens, happens. So what are the facts right now? The facts are, when price just now came crashing down, NASDAQ rebalanced down here. Dow cleared these lows. Dow pushed below this low, the Asian low. What we haven't seen is that we haven't gotten below the New York low. This was yesterday's, right? So this is New York low. Still not trading down here. Okay? These are the facts. Then we need to ask ourselves, does it need to trade down there? Does it have to? Is there incentive? Is there motive for this to happen? Okay? Good question. Considering that we just rebalanced, and if we were going to get a big reversal, I would imagine it would mitigate. Okay? So I think we could still go further down, especially because NASDAQ does not stay up here. It visits. It was a little cameo up here, but not necessarily, oh yeah, bullish structure, there's demand, no demand. So little demand here, little demand there. I think we go at least one notch further. Just one more leg down. Minimum. This would then be a high probability exit for Dow over here. That's my take. If you're like, I don't want to deal with this, I'm up, I don't need to do any of that, then take your profit. And I think it's a respectable exit if you exit now, because there is indecision. There looks to be low demand over here as well. So I totally get it. Totally understand. Now, what else is we're seeing here? Just had the alert go off on Mexican peso. With the futures chart, though, it's not quite there. It's in the big one, so the big sweep. Then it gave a little bit of bounce, and then it did it again. So Mexican peso getting pretty close. So how are you guys liking this setup? Got the higher highs, came back down, came up again. The one thing I don't like about this is that we don't make higher highs here. That I don't love, but we do trade up here for a significant amount of time. All right, so where are we at here? So, okay, low demand, market flies. Comes back up here, no demand really here. Market melts. However, still these prices don't last very long, so price comes back up again. But these prices still don't last as well, so we're coming back down again. So we're in this kind of battle of low demand above 22,920, and then we have low demand in this area below 22,875. So price approaching these zones again. This is where it's like, okay, good exit zones, high probability exit zones for something like Dow. However, because there is no demand over here, I also don't want to buy. I don't want to buy NASDAQ here. This to me doesn't seem to last very long. So I think we break through this. For a profitability standpoint, now that we're in this zone, I'm going to take my profit on Dow because now we're in high probability areas. So I'm going to take my profit here on Dow, and then I'm looking to still buy NASDAQ. Cool. So, all right, took some profits. So I end up profiting here, like right there, like 1.7-ish. Still going under, which is cool. And then here comes NASDAQ now, playing back into this zone. All right. And then now, let's see it. See if we get the entry here on NQ. Just wait a little bit longer. So Dow still the most bearish. And then if you're going to just hold Dow until NASDAQ gets to its zone, which makes sense, then that'll take you to, should take you to around a 2R. But yeah, in today's example, I did profit below a 2R. Is a little out of the ordinary, but I'm focusing more on high probability exits instead of just like, oh, this, I want to make this much. I want to make 2R. No, like we're just gotta trade what we gotta trade. Trade with get with the whatever the market gives us, we'll take it. Okay, let's see. Look at the chat. Hey, drop some W's if you just got some W's in the chat. If you got some wins. Where'd my tacos go? Left them on the damn counter. Yo, that's crazy. Yeah, we basically, 2R. That's we're getting into sub 2R. We're getting tacos, but like, no double meat or nothing like that. No double protein. Okay, was I the only one that took Dow cells? We got hundreds of people rolling through here, and we making decisions or not. Can you see UNH? Yeah, I can take a look at it. That sucks. Chances. Remember this trade. Gold is melting. Missed me by 5 ticks. Ouch. Nice session today overall. Thank you, PG. I feel you, Seth. Personally been sitting on my hands for NAS longs. Okay, that's cool. It's coming soon. So out of the hundreds of people that have rolling through here, no one sold Dow. There's no way. Why am I even here then? Got out on mitigation 1-to-1R. And I'm just here trying to get people paid. So y'all can just get free merch, basically. Me? There you go, Paul. That's what I'm talking about. Was waiting for the higher entry. All right, that's valid. Okay, NQ. Anyways, all jokes aside. NQ here. About to tap in. About to get into that zone. Come on now. As soon as we're in this zone, it is a valid for the buys. Looks like a little more. The fact that we are now sweeping the Asian lows over here is solid. This is good. Starting to bounce already. Give us a chance. You see how we've been patient on the buys, not chasing? That's what it's all about. Did you take the Dow cells? You didn't take it? It'd be the ones closest to you. You're already in NAS? Oh, you took it from like up here? From the open? I see. This actually, you might have this. So all right, let me do some surgery here, just to make sure this makes sense. So where does NASDAQ really start selling from? We start seeing it dip from up here, and then it builds up some more support for a couple more minutes, and then right there is where it starts to sell from, and there's imbalance. Here is the open, so it pumps up here, and then this is the open of the session, and then it drops. All right, we'll see. We're seeing strong movement with NASDAQ already. Sheesh. So I'm still going to wait. For me, we're playing out of the open of the session, but I feel like the sell-off started a little bit lower, and there's this imbalance. So there is a reason for that. If I was already in a buy, and let's say I was up in this profit, I would at least move my stops to break even. But I'm not in this yet. But I think some of you took it from like this zone, basically. Like over here somewhere. I am waiting a little bit more. Mexican peso trading out of the top open as well right now, but not quite down here. Man, what a rally. NQ just blasting off. Ooh. Dow chilling, though. Dow big chilling. I wonder if that's going to... You see how Dow is moving up very minimally? Like just a very tiny amount? I wonder if we end up seeing... If we end up pushing down again, and that clears New York session lows. Maybe. Maybe not. Okay. What time is it? What the... Bro, we've been here for way too long. All right, guys. It might be time to go touch some grass. What's up? What kind of grass? Just physical grass from the outdoor world. Ms. Naz, too. Today's great. Nah, let her dip. We going to get that entry. Can you go over Bitcoin? I've been in the workshop in the background cooking lately, thanks to Mr. Mike. Well done, Brandon. Boy, been getting funded, withdrawing, making moves. All right, Bitcoin. Sure, I can look at Bitcoin. Is it dumping too? That it is. That it is. Remember, Bitcoin is a secret weapon. I quit, missed NQ2. Well, technically, you maybe. I don't think we did. That could be delusion. But nah, I mean, the entry for me, the sell-off starts lower. So, no, I don't think so. I'm curious. I still think that Dow can take out these New York lows from yesterday. And then if that brings us down again, then that's a different story. However, based on the absolute, rocket ship that NQ is right now, I could be wrong here. But what I was getting at is, and the reason I feel slightly more confident about what I'm saying is that Bitcoin hasn't dropped enough to mitigate, though. Bitcoin sells off from here. And it's all one big puzzle. One big old chessboard. And so if Bitcoin sells off from here and then goes, that means that Bitcoin could still dip lower. And Bitcoin, NASDAQ, Dow Jones, they all have a one big crazy relationship. So we'll see. I have my alert set. If it comes down here eventually later, then I'll take a look at it. Otherwise, we're cooling. Okay, let's see. Anyways, with Bitcoin, yeah, like I was saying, I think we can go lower. We can get into this zone, maybe bounce, because we got over here. We traded above this for a few hours, and then we came back down. So we might play out of here. Otherwise, Bitcoin still 106 looks to be like a pretty good level to trade under if we're looking for bigger swings, portfolio type things. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. So I'm going to have an alert. If Dow starts to crack these lows, then we may be in for something else. All right. Guys, if you learned something new, what I want from y'all is drop a post about something new that you learned. If you're here and you're not learning something new, or you feel like you're growing as a trader, you might want to just, reflect on that, because you ideally want to get better every session. Pick up something, whether it's awareness on your own skills, if you improved or are not improving with your patience, with your entry selection, exit selection, etc. So make sure every session is an opportunity to improve in one way or another, whether it's technically, whether it's system-wise, whether it's discipline, whether it's emotional regulation, but all of that is there for you. How about NQ shakeout? There really isn't one, because, okay, the market gets down to here, but then what? It doesn't really get below any key liquidity moments. So, for example, shakeout is cool. It's not just taking a low or a high. You want it to really be in relation to a high liquidity zone. So this had already taken out tons of buyers. This last spike down doesn't really take out much more. So I don't necessarily think so. I wouldn't count on it. But if it fits your plan, you do you. Cool. Well, guys, thank you all for being on here. If you enjoyed this session, obviously hit the like button, and then make sure you're subscribed. We're live again tomorrow, per usual. If you guys made some money today and you want to show some love, check out the new merch we just dropped. And then if you want to do what we're doing right now, but you want to do it somewhere absolutely dope, like in Colombia in September 9th to the 13th, then feel free to join us on our dope experience over here. So check it out over here. If you have any questions on this, let us know. 5-star hotel, got lunches and dinners included, boats and stuff like that. So we're going to be trading live together and all that good stuff. So anything you guys ever want to know, just go ahead. You guys can hit us up so you have more information, more detail. And then same thing regarding stuff with like payments and stuff like that. You know, we're obviously human beings, so we can sort it all out. But appreciate you guys. I'll see you live again tomorrow. Peace out, fam.